sourced by this company whose representative you are. So you need to outsource it to whom? To any one of these three which are on the slide.
So, but there are companies which have direct intervention.
Have what?
Direct intervention on CSR.
Yes, of course they do.
So, it's not mandatory they have to go through these agencies. They can very well do.
Right now, what does it say? That you are expected to undertake it through one of these. When you are doing it yourself, that time was before the 2%.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, you will see that 2% means a big escalation in your CSR budget. And if your executives or your company people are actually doing CSR, they can't do it whole time because they're not recruited for CSR. You can't spare them, okay, now my budget has gone from 5 crore to 10 crores, all you guys are free from the company, do only CSR, don't come back. That's a hard choice for companies to make. You can if you want to, but very few will actually recruit people from its own staff to do CSR. Generally speaking, therefore, this is the better option, and that's what the Act and the rules expect you to do. Yes, yes.
As per this method of implementation, the company executives cannot do this registered as a registered society do this CSR activities.
No, they can if they want to. But company executives doing CSR deep in the, let us say, in the forest of Sundarbans, what would they be doing there?
Fine. Now, the company executives can monitor this, or it will be monitored by some other registered body.
Let's go back to the monitoring slide. That's it. Look at 3C. The 3-member committee, members of the board, they are the ones to monitor. That's why I told you, how many can you monitor? Just a few. Monitoring is one of the principal tasks under the Act. So the execution may be by an NGO or any one of those 3 organizations. Please go back to that slide. But monitoring rests with you. Responsibility rests with you. The report and return which you will file to government rests with you. NGO is only the operational agency. That's it.
No, sir, I think the question is coming from a different background. There are few companies, I agree that not too many, but there are few companies, they have their own CSR department.
Yes.
Now, typically the methods, one method of implementing a project or a program is that they develop self-help groups at different locations. And they they implement those programs through those self-help groups. No, not necessarily those self-help groups are NGOs or registered.
Now they should be. Please register them. Generally speaking, self-help groups are a major problem because many have known to disappear overnight. That's why the idea was take a cluster of self-help groups, register them, or get them to work with an NGO. It's very hard to keep track with self-help groups. Now, getting back to the next one, please. You can also establish a trust. You can also establish a foundation. Many big companies have trusts, have foundations through which they implement their CSR. Any one of you work with any such foundation? Akshaya Patra is an NGO. It's not a company. Companies like, let's say, Mahindra have actual foundations. Nalco have a foundation for CSR. What should that foundation do? Many people ask me this question. Companies have their own foundations. They implement the CSR. What's the big deal there? Typically, what do foundations do? Do they implement the program with their own hands? How many members typically are in a foundation? Anyone worked with a foundation before? What's the maximum number of people you would actually expect to be in a foundation? Any guess? Take a guess. 1,000, 10,000, 1 lakh. How many people are there in a foundation?
It is 10 to 15 or more than that.
If you're a very, very large corporation, you'll have 10. Otherwise, 5 or 6 is the norm. Now, can 5 or 6 people implement a 10 crore project or 10 crores worth of project? They don't. So what does the foundation do? It collects the money and it farms out the work to other NGOs. But it's a convenient tool for companies to keep track of their CSR work and their CSR expenditure.
So it is more of monitoring activity also.
Sorry?
More of monitoring activity also.
Exactly. It's a useful monitoring tool, a useful place where you can park your CSR funds, and you can also ask that foundation to report to the board what kind of CSR work is being done. Next. Now please note this part very carefully. I've told you what CSR is. But more important than what it is what it is not. Please don't do these things. They will not be accepted as CSR activities. Any questions on any one of these 3 things? There's more to come though. What does the last of these bullets mean? What does the word project mean? What's the last of the bullets? No. What is the last of the bullets? Read it.
Supposed to be taken as a project mode.
Yes.
Means there should be a target.
What does project mode mean? It is exactly the opposite of number 2. That means it has to be over a period of time. It has to have a start date, it has to have an end date. It has to have a specific amount of money allocated to that project. It has to be properly documented.
Could it be a one-day project?
Never.
Something which adds value.
And you must determine before you start the project what are the outcomes going to be. And those outcomes which you think of should be quantifiable and measurable. Please do not do any project whose outcomes you cannot measure.
Event mode.
Sorry?
Otherwise it will be event mode. It should be
Yes, and that's exactly what's forbidden here. You don't want events. Never ever. Don't
out of
do
the
any
project,
events.
Events may become.
Sorry?
Out of the project, event.
Exactly. It could be a series. Events could be part, but the whole thing is a project. Yes.
So we, this year we planted 2000 trees. There were 4 months of preparing for that and 1 year of maintenance that was supposed to.
Yeah, so make a project out of it. Make a project. Because blindly planting trees is the worst sin you can commit. Never ever plant trees. Full stop. Unless you have planned the plantation with precision. What type of trees? What for? Where? How much groundwater will it suck? Is it forestry plantation or otherwise? Will it help wildlife or not? Will it encourage wood cutting by local people or not? Please do not ever plant trees unless you are very, very sure about what you are planting it for and why. Is it compensatory plantation? You cut somewhere else, therefore you are compensating by planting here. Once you have planted a tree, it's almost impossible to take it out. It's an irreversible thing. It's like giving birth to human life. If you plant a tree, you must take responsibility from birth till the death of that tree. If you can't take responsibility, do not ever plant a tree. It's the worst sin you can commit. Please, I mean that with sincerity. So you must take it all up in project mode. Identify that this is my plantation. It will last 3 years. This is the wood it will provide. This is the oil from the trees that will go. This is the leafy vegetable plantation. This is what the community will derive as a benefit from this plantation. Whatever you want to do, but you must also know, end of that project, what will you measure? Will you simply measure number of trees planted? Not so. What's going to be the measurable impact of the project? For whom are you planting those trees? Are they the poor, the deprived, marginalized? What are we doing CSR for? Who are we doing it for? What's your target group? Why are we doing CSR? Remember, this model of CSR is an Indian model, developed in India, for India, by India. It's for our social development, to address our needs. It is to help our poor, our downtrodden, our marginalized, to help the development agenda of our country. Therefore, when you do CSR, be very, very conscious of why you're doing it. Next, yeah.
Sponsorship of a fundraising project for an existing
Next one after this. Yeah, I'll just finish the list of other things that are not admissible. If you are fulfilling something under an act, the Pollution Control Board gives you a notice saying, the chimney in your factory is spewing black smoke, polluting the whole atmosphere, my friend. Please convert that black smoke into white. And you install 1 crore of machinery in your factory to make the black smoke into white. Is that CSR? Now clearly it is not, because you are complying only with an act. Political party, of course, has now been excluded. What does the last one mean? Anyone can explain the last of the bullets to me? Why is it put there? Why do the rules specify that what you do in the normal course of business will not count? Why is it there? Any of you belong to the public sector, anyone? That's completely out. No CSR there. No, that's not the idea. Alright, let's say you are in a company called Rural Electrification Corporation of India. Alright? What do? What's your everyday work? You connect the last house of the last rural household of India to the nearest substation, and you light up the lives of the last family. Is that CSR? Why is it not? What could be better CSR than this? You are lighting up the life of the last human being in the last village of this country.
Because they were part of their business.
This is why they are employed. This is what they're drawing their salary for. This is their job. Why did I say this? Why did I use this example? Because in a famous meeting 3 years ago, the Cabinet Secretary of India called me, supposed to be the so-called missionary man for CSR, and he put me in the dock. And he invited 6 secretaries to the government of India. Every one of those secretaries had powerful public sector undertakings under them. So petroleum secretary, steel secretary, other secretaries. And all of them said, what is this rubbish called CSR? And why are we doing it? But leave those arguments aside. As I said, those belong to the dust heap of history. But the chairman of the Rural Electrification Corporation said exactly this. He told the cabinet secretary, what is the use of Dr. Chatterjee sitting here and giving us this rubbish? Sir, every day of my life I do CSR. Sir, every day of their lives all my executives and workers do only CSR. Dawn till dusk. CSR is in our blood, sir. What is Dr. Chatterjee giving us this rubbish for?
They have been paid for that. That's the difference.
The then cabinet secretary said exactly this. And there the debate ended. Yes, sir. Next slide, please. Yeah.
That is, we are an IT company, and from our company we have thought of rural electrification, and we are also discussing with chief and so. So being an IT company doing the same, is that the same?
Doing what?
Being an IT company and getting into rural electrification along with the policy, would that be a part of it?
Why not? But you are going to do that electrification through whom?
We are thinking of joining with the company, reaching out to villages, solar power in our villages.
Yeah, so are you employing any NGOs there to extend that solar power? Good. So will they employ NGOs to take it further? Of course, certainly, by all means. Because that is not your normal course of business. That's a great objective. If you can do it, fantastic. And Tata Power is one of the best companies there is. If they engage with communities, if they engage with NGOs to help you reach out to them, that's the best form of CSR. Now, if you are sitting on that board and you are going to develop your CSR work, what are the 2 or 3 things that you need to first think of? You are the CMD of that company. You are sitting on the board and your company secretary comes up to you and says, sir, kya kare? CSR karna hi hai. Whether we like it, sir, or we don't like it, sir, we have to do it, sir. So, how to do it? What would you as the CMD first ask? Correct. Isko bhaiya samjhao. And what's the answer to that? But suppose for a minute that you understood it. Alright? There's no problem with understanding. Then what?
Create awareness.
Amongst your employees? No. You are starting CSR work from the day on which the meeting starts. What's the first question you will ask? So long as you decide what sector, education, health, chalo bhai ye bhi kar lenge, wo bhi kar lenge, everybody is on board. What's the one question that you will ask which will send everybody to the washroom? Exactly, my friend. कौन करेगा CSR? मेरी कंपनी में कौन करेगा CSR? क्या नाम है उसका? सब लोग दौड़ के भागेंगे. You also ask, अरे भाई, if it was a marketing program, मैं तो marketing qualified professional को बुलाता. If it was a finance program, I would call a qualified finance person. But this is CSR. Where is this qualified person? Who is my CSR man or woman? Who is this person in my company who will be the contact point, the person, the one individual who will be the focal point, the fulcrum of everything I do in CSR? Who is this person? कहां से मिलेगा वो इंसान?
I think you have to depute a person for this job.
Depute meaning what? Pick him up and say, hello Chatterjee, you from tomorrow become a CSR individual. अपना अवतार परिवर्तन कर लो, आगे से सिर्फ CSR के सपने देखो। कैसे बनेगा वो इंसान जो कल तक लाइट बल्ब बना रहा था? वो CSR कैसे बन जाएगा आदमी? कौन करेगा CSR? Answer to this question is important. I may use it in a jocular form, I may treat it with levity. But the fact is, it is the most serious question that a CMD must ask. Because if you give that task to the wrong human being, you as the CMD could be in serious personal trouble. What options do you have? Correct. Very well put. So, if I don't have one, I can create one. How do I create a CSR professional? I check him into a CSR program. Where is the CSR program? Which CSR program? Who gives the CSR program? Remember, beginning of independence, India wanted engineers. Who created the engineers for this country? Who created IITs? Sorry? Nehru? Government. Shortly after, we needed doctors, medical colleges. Who created doctors? Government. Even to the extent that when we wanted business executives in this country, who created IIMs? Government. 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 So when we want CSR professionals, who will create them? Government. Which government? Who in government? I'm standing before you so you can point to me. The Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs, we in government have already started the creation of CSR professionals. We have advertised and received responses, and our course, the 9-month, the first certificate course ever, is being launched on the 8th of October of this year. Anybody can join. It's done so well that it's a 9-month online course. You have to go nowhere. The study material is given to you at home. All your tests you take on your own laptop. You study in your spare time. How much study? Just 2 hours in a whole week. You are also attached to a corporate house. You are also attached to some of the best NGOs in India to get a grip of how they do their work. Government official also can, yes, of course. There are no restrictions. The point here is this. End of 9 months, you get a certificate from the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, making you a certified professional in CSR. Now, at the end of this first course, beginning on the 8th of October, we will produce approximately 300 CSR professionals. They will be the first of their kind, not in India, in the entire world. The first ever CSR professional.
One question from here. Sorry to interrupt you.
Sure.
What are the course fees like?
Sorry? The
What
fees,
are
the fees are so nominal because it's a Sarkari affair. So it's not 15 lakhs or 18 lakhs as you would expect to pay in an IIM. It's just 1 lakh. They're kept very, very low for the reason that it's a Sarkari enterprise and we want people to come on board. Now, the thing about this is, when you therefore want professionals to do your job, you must have them. And in your company, it's important. Suppose you can send maybe 1 or 2 executives in your company take this course. What about the rest? Can you find a training program for them? A quick orientation program for them? Can you bring CSR learning to them in short-term programs? Can you do that? Would you want to do that? The rules provide for that. Any training that you do for any one of the company, including this 9-month certificate course, all of it is chargeable to CSR. Any training. This goes even so far as to say that if the implementing agency or the NGO whom you engage for your company, if you want to train them, even that is permissible as a CSR expenditure. That's how far skill building and skill development is taken seriously. Next. Alright. April 2015. I take a fast forward to April of 2015. Why is that month so important? Because that is the time for you to report what you have done. And this is the reporting template in which your company has to report to the ministry, to your shareholders, in your director's report, on your website, what have you done in the year preceding.
We have to report to the ministry also?
Naturally, if it's on your website, we're going to pick it up. It's in the public domain. All the 16,000 companies will be portrayed on our ministry website as well. It asks you also to give the details of the implementing agency. 2 quick questions. Why are we asking for the details of the implementing agency?
Like to audit it and
3 years track record.
Yes, all of these are correct. Your answers are all correct. But there's something more important than just that.
I would like to develop a data.
What's the typical kind of pressure that CMDs normally get? Generally, this pressure comes from where? Within the company? For public sector, where does it come from?
Politicians.
Correct.